Per the Yalta Agreement, Russia finally gets in the war in Asia. About time. And in the very final weeks, and this August storm, when the Russians deploy like 1.5 million soldiers, it's one of the largest military operations of World War II. And then they rapidly take Manchuria. And they also do that would be the normal thing, but here's the abnormal thing. They also take away Manchuria's industrial base. That would not normally be what you do to someone. They take 83% of the electrical power equipment, take it home to Russia, not turning lights on in Manchuria, 86% of mining, 82% of cement making, 80% of metalworking equipment. Plus, they take 640,000 Japanese POWs to be slave labor for decades if they ever get home at all. And they also take the northern islands, which are still under dispute today. But if you think about it, if you're going to do indemnities or reparations or whatever this is, China had been fighting Japan in one form or another for 15 long years. Russia comes in at the cameo performance at the very end. So if there are indemnities to be paid for whatever Japan did in this war, surely China, not Russia, should have been the recipient for all this stuff. In addition, another example, not only does Stalin walk away with the industrial base, but he walks away with Mongolia as well. How does that work? The Yalta Agreement also stipulates that the status quo shall be maintained in Mongolia. So then you have to look at, well, what was the status quo? It was called Russian sphere of influence in the north, Chinese continuing control in the south. That Mongolia, which had always been both those places, had been part of the Qing Empire, had never been part of the Russian Empire. And moreover, Stalin had already taken Tanatuva in 1944, and it looks small on this map, but it's bigger than England, had lots of gold, which the Soviets had monetized long ago. So if you add up all the territory that the Russians took from the Chinese sphere of influence from the 1858 Treaty of Aigun and 1860 Treaty of Peking, fast forward to detaching Outer Mongolia from the Chinese sphere of influence, here's what it really is. It's greater than all U.S. territory east of the Mississippi. This is not your normal land grab. So talk about derailing somebody, that would do it. To be fair to the Russians, they did, albeit slowly, turn over all this Japanese stockpiled military equipment in Manchuria, turned it over to the communists. And they also, albeit belatedly, they trained them how to use the equipment and also how to run the Manchurian railway system. And the Chinese communists, as a rural peasant movement, how would they know how to do these things? They wouldn't. And it allows this conventional aid and logistics of being able to move people around. It transforms the communists from a lightly armed guerrilla movement to a very heavily armed conventional forces capable for the showdown phase of the Chinese Civil War. So, like the Whampoa Military Academy, this is essential aid for the communist victory. So, it's neither the communists or the nationalists complain about the deindustrialization of Manchuria. And the communists probably traded that industry for all the conventional aid that they got. And the nationalists are trading that and also Outer Mongolian independence for a promise from Stalin not to aid the communists, which is a promise that he promptly breaks. So Mao starts to figure out that something is up here. So when he's on a roll in his offensives in the Civil War, there's really bitter fighting. And the real movement in the last phase, the post-1940 phase of the Chinese Civil War, is in 1948. That year, Mao just moves. And he is roaring down south, and he's about to get the Yangtze River. And Stalin's like, hey, buddy, take a break at the Yangtze. Don't exhaust yourself. And Mao ignores it. Because whereas Stalin might have wanted to keep nationalist rump states south of the Yangtze River, yielding a divided China in keeping with weakening your neighbor, Mao is not remotely interested in that.
If you enjoyed this clip, you can watch the full episode here and subscribe for more clips. Thanks.